I know what you're thinking. What could I possibly show you that you haven't seen elsewhere before? And I promise you, you haven't seen it. But if you don't really care, you can skip to the fight in the timestamp. It'll be in the description. But if you look on YouTube, then you're not gonna find any videos near the top or at all, really, that I could find of that people are using potential level 4 Daisy as a DPS to clear Abyss difficulty. Now in this video, we just have the Warden because I didn't have time to do Gila. But we're gonna do Gila. This is a pre-recording because I wasn't sure I would have been able to clear it, and so I'm gonna provide voiceover commentary as I'm looking at it with you guys. So here I messed up, like my team was not built at all. I went out. We're gonna use Tiore, and then I'm gonna use Sword and Shield. Obviously, the other two are not suited for DPS; they're for support. Go to player details. If you caught a glimpse, that's potential 4. Now here, I was trying to see what the passive you get for upgrading it to level 4 is. So the Gluttonous Resolve will give you a new passive when you hit level 4. And here, just wanted to take a look, see if I needed it to clear the fight, which I didn't. Spoiler warning, obviously. And so, again, don't mind this if you want to take a look at the upgrades anyway. So special attack cooldown decreases by 12 seconds. So I was looking at the gear, you guys can see it's pretty terrible. If you have any better gear than me, Arachne set, Arachne ring with a decent substat, then you can do this much easier than I did. I had kind of a hard time doing this, so again, I only tried like once, but if I were to do this a couple times, it's going to be pretty tough. So we're using Diane. Obviously, we need our healer. We have her on the Blazing Gauntlets. So we're going to start with Diane. We have the book on the lane. Lower enemy square resistance. Tiora is there for absolutely no reason. I don't know why she's doing fire. I don't know what I was thinking. I was kind of tired, so I just put her in there. I meant to put her on Earth and then put her on the team because at least she has some buffs that way. But here we go. We're going to start the run. And really quickly before we do, again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would really appreciate it if you could take a second to subscribe. I'm just trying to hit 500 subscribers, and I'm almost there. Imagine I said 500,000. But anyway, here we go. So you don't want to waste any time here. Obviously, just skip this whole thing, and then make sure you get the chest. I just never get it. We're gonna open with Diane. Apply that debuff at the top, right? Go behind him. Apply that makes it more do more earth damage and earth resistance lowered. And I don't want to hear any comments about being pay to win. Okay, Daisy's P4. I don't have King, Drake, Manny, and Jericho. So some dupes went into Elaine and Diane. And so we have P5 Elaine and P5 Diane. So here I bursted with the lane because of her engraved set, where it gives you 30% extra attack damage, which is not that much, but you get a lot of magic burst, which is important for Daisy. So this setup is pretty good. Again, Tiore you can swap out for Manny or Earth Tiore. So this is one of the times. That's one of the times I got hit. But if you get hit too much, like you're gonna have trouble because you're gonna not have enough Alter Gauge to heal and do DPS with Daisy. So here, I don't know what the problem is because sometimes I'll do this kind of damage and then later I'll show you. I'll highlight like the actual good amount of damage I was able to do. Again, this would be higher if I had a critical set, but I don't. So. Good damage. There we go, 89,000. So as you can see there, we're gonna do higher numbers later on. But here, I don't know what triggered this. If somebody knows, just let me know in the comments. But even if I don't use Elaine debuffs here, you can see that you can hit for 90k without a problem, right? So stay towards this red outline. So when you're running around, or when he's running around, then he tries to come to you. He can't touch you, and then as he does it like 4 times, he gets stunned, and then you're gonna go behind him, apply the debuff with the lane and the book, and then switch over back to Daisy. I messed up here. I should have waited, but he's coming back. Again, here triggering the burst with Elaine so I can get the magic gauge. We just saw it shot up, and now when I'm switching to Daisy, it's gonna be helpful. So there we go, 100,000. Again, this one has some debuffs applied to him through Elaine, and I think the ring. But one thing you want to look out for is ulting before with the Daisy. So if you have 6 ult gauge, you can probably ult with Daisy without the bear, because it gives the enemy a debuff that makes them take 30% more damage. And then switch over to the bear, start building your buffs, your skills. Another 90k, not too bad, but you'll see another, there's going to be a 10k damage in there somehow. So. There I messed up. I should have switched right to Elaine at the end, but because again I have like no magic burst gauge still. So as you can see, my timer is going down pretty quickly and my damage has started to slow down. And so if you play better than me, which most of you probably can, the ideal setup, right, what you want to do is start with Diane. I mean, obviously it's just the first time. You start with Diane, apply the debuff, first strike debuff. You switch to Elaine. You use her book, go behind the enemy, so go behind the warden, tap him, and it's going to apply 40% crit resistance lower, and then you have the Saintess mark. Make sure you apply that, and then if you can, when you're triggering a burst, trigger with Elaine so you constantly have some burst gauge for your Daisy. This is probably, again, the perfect setup. Whoever you want to have on your second slot, you can do that, but I'm talking about this setup right here. So So here I'm going to trigger the, again, I keep saying this, but this is important because if you don't do this, you're not going to have enough ult gauge for Daisy to actually do her damage. So as you can see, it's pretty close down to the wire, but again, if you have a better gear set, if you have your weapons limit broken a little bit, you can do this much easier. One thing again, if you skipped to the timestamp, if you don't take, it's taking a second to subscribe to the channel, and if you find a video with potential for Daisy being used as a DPS, you can come back and unsubscribe. But I promise you, I couldn't find anything, okay? So it's potential 6, potential 5, people are showing it off, but like nobody's free to play that is trying to get P5 Daisy, but also save for future units, so. Alright, here we go. And so that's it, right? I didn't claim the reward in this because I didn't have any keys, but that was the run. Again, if you have just Diane on gauntlets, doesn't matter, potential 4, potential 5, you can go ahead and clear this. Elaine, potential 5 does give a little bit of a buff because you get 30% more earth damage, and you know that applies to Daisy, but you saw I didn't have it applied all the time, but the difference was from 90,000 when the enemy didn't have any debuffs to around 110,000 when we had like a few debuffs on there, including the Saintess mark. So it doesn't make that much of a difference. The main difference is going to come from how strong your Daisy is, right? So again, I got comments about team without Meliodas and Daisy, so if this was, or team without Daisy or Diane with an axe, so if this was helpful, again, please leave a like, and I do have a Discord in my description or whatever. If you want to join, you can, but again, doesn't really matter if you're looking for extra help. So Thank you for watching, guys. Take care, and I'll see you next time.